Gentleman yields back the balance of his time. The chair now recognizes the congressman from Texas, Mr. Pfluger, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to discuss, unfortunately, yet another crisis. When Russia invaded the Ukraine in 2014, I was actually an active duty Air Force officer stationed in Europe, in NATO, assigned to a NATO unit. I saw this firsthand. This is much different. I just returned from Kyiv, where we met with many Ukrainian officials, including the president, the foreign minister, and the defense minister. And while there, we heard a message that was loud and clear. Vladimir Putin is acting now because he senses an environment of weakness. Weakness from this administration in the approach to energy, in the countless failures, including the most tragic of all, the Afghanistan evacuation, and in the lack of overall commitment to law and order, which can be seen in so many places around this country today, including our southern border. All these failures have created this environment of weakness that Putin is now acting on. And to make matters worse, European countries are completely beholden and dependent upon Russia for their energy. Over 40% of the energy flow coming from Russia. Ukrainian officials told me directly that without Nord Stream 2, Russia would not be acting out today. This was told to a bipartisan CODEL that heard this, both Republicans and Democrats alike. Since the president took office, every policy failure he has steered our country into has signaled not strength, but weakness. And the president now promises to impose severe sanctions on Russia should they invade the Ukraine. This is not the way that deterrence works. Deterrence happens every day. It happens in every policy action. It doesn't happen after the fact. Why would Russia expect the Biden administration to respect the borders of the Ukraine when we refuse to secure our own borders here at home? President Zelensky said this, and I quote, "Border security matters. I will defend the Ukrainian borders." We need a president who is strong, who will protect not only the United States, but also will send a clear message to our allies and our partners abroad that law and order will stand, that sovereign borders will be protected. We need an administration that is capable of standing up to our adversaries, and as I have said before in this chamber, we need a president who will choose Midland over Moscow. If President Biden is not going to take action, Congress must. I will be working to impose strong sanctions on the Nord Stream pipeline. Energy security is national security. The Ukrainian people understand this. The European continent understands this. And the Russians now have a stranglehold on Europe by imposing their will with the Nord Stream projects. We need Democrats and Republicans alike. We were unified on this CODEL, so I'm asking my Democrat colleagues to understand the severity of this problem, that in 2022, we have a sovereign country that could be invaded by an aggressor, that aggressor who has been emboldened by an environment of weakness. We must stand strong. So many people, including myself, have served overseas, have done the hard work, and it is well past time that we end these crises, that we show strength in the face of an aggressor who would impose their will on the rest of the world and change world order that greatest generation 80 years ago fought for. Now is not the time to back down. And as Putin goes to China and stands side by side with Xi Jinping in these Olympic Games and asks for his blessing to invade a sovereign country, it is time for all of us to not identify by our parties, but to identify as Americans, to come together and to be strong on our actions.